Who are the coaches in the SEC that are on the hot seat? Well, before the season, there was 4 or 5 pretty easy ones to pinpoint and point at. Number 1 being Billy Napier, number 2 being Sam Pittman, number 3 being Clark Lee, and number 4 being Shane Beamer. And debatably, you could throw Hugh Freeze on there, but again, I don't really think you could have done that in year 2. But after what we've seen thus far in college football, 3 of those 4 coaches really shouldn't be on the hot seat, especially Clark Lee and Sam Pittman. Both of them got top 5 wins this season, and both Vandy and Arkansas had a legitimate case to be 6-0. Yeah, believe it or not, they have a legitimate case to be 6-0. Shane Beamer, on the other hand, he beat Kentucky. He's competed in every game that he's played. You could X out the Ole Miss game, I suppose. But how about the Alabama game? They came up just this close. LSU as well, this close away from winning that. Debatably, they could be 5-1 on the season. But it's an obvious one being Billy Napier. Listen, Florida fans said that his last chance game was against Miami. They lose that game. They want him gone. Then they beat Sanford 100-0, whatever it was, and said, well, we found our quarterback. It's DJ Lagway. We're going to beat Texas A&M and blah, blah, blah. You lose Texas A&M, got destroyed. Okay, we want Billy Napier gone. Then you beat Mississippi State, and then you beat UCF, and now, Billy can save his job against Tennessee. You lose to Tennessee in an embarrassing fashion, in which a game that you should have won, Florida. Florida fans know it. I believe that was his last straw, but I believe he was going to get fired sometime this year anyways. You play Kentucky this week. If you do lose in Kentucky, I don't see the point of keeping him then, but he's 100% locked to be fired this year. I don't think it matters what happens going forward, unless somehow, some way, Florida wins out, which, just, come on. So Billy Napier is probably the only one that's locked in and done with. Number 2, I would say it has to be Hugh Freeze. Auburn's team this year has looked pretty bad, to say the least, offensively. He's an offensive guru of a mind. Apparently, he was like top 5. People said, Auburn fans really said that he was top 5 overall in the country as a coach when it comes to offense. And, well, where's that elite offense? Well, it starts at quarterback. Auburn's quarterback position is just terrible. And it's something that has cost them in 3 games. Should have beaten Oklahoma, should have beaten Cal, and should have beaten Arkansas. If you had a quarterback, you'd be 5-1 right now, or at least 4-2, beating Cal and Oklahoma. Arkansas, the game you could point at. Both teams kind of made mistakes down the stretch of that game, and then Arkansas won it at the end. But yeah, Auburn at least should be 4-2 right now, debatably 5-1. And looking forward to the future, it doesn't look like Auburn's going to make a bowl game. This was a giant letdown. This was a season I thought that Auburn should go 8-4. The schedule aligned really well for the Tigers, and, well, they're not going to get to 8-4. Let's just say it how it is. And they probably won't make a bowl game. So you could literally put Hugh Freeze number 2. I think you got to put Brent Venables at number 3. Similar issues like the Auburn team. Except it's a lot worse at Oklahoma, in my opinion. They don't have a quarterback, they don't have a run game, and they don't have an offensive line, and the wide receivers are banged up. At least Auburn has good running backs and pretty good wide receivers. At Oklahoma, there's nothing good going on with their offense. Brent Venables completely flipped the script for Oklahoma. This was more of an offensive team, changed the philosophy and scheme, and now they're a defensive first team, and that's not going to cut you. And in fact, Oklahoma has the worst offense in the SEC, scoring 3 points against Texas, 27 though against Auburn. That was a fluke, and then 15 against Tennessee. That's 45 divided by 3, 15 points per game in SEC play. And you can't forget the Houston fiasco, and a game they probably should have lost. They couldn't run the football against Houston. You serious? Come on. Houston's not a good team. I guess that win looks a tiny bit better because they went on the road and beat TCU, but who cares? Those, to me, are the 3 SEC head coaches at the top of the list. Well, probably not Brent Venables right this second, but I'm telling you, this Oklahoma team's probably going to finish 6-6, maybe even 5-7. They're not good at anything offensively. Their quarterback position is a disaster. Their most importantly, in my opinion, their offensive line is absolutely horrific. It might be the worst in the SEC. So Brent Venables has completely flipped the script at Oklahoma, and it has completely backfired. And oh, by the way, the biggest loss in Oklahoma, I've already talked to Oklahoma fans. They disagree with this take. You pushed out Dillon Gabriel. Look what Dillon Gabriel is doing right now. He's top 5 in Heisman odds. Breaking news, by the way. He was last year at a certain time as well. But you push away a really good, a great, borderline elite, if not elite quarterback for Jackson Arnold, and you've already benched him. So that was the worst coaching idea in Brent Venables' career thus far. And then who else is on this list? You could still put Shane Beamer for South Carolina. I don't think you could put Levy on here for Mississippi State, but hey. But Clark Lee and Sam Pittman, those two are completely off the list. Both of those two they should get to a bowl game, I think. Especially Arkansas. Arkansas has potential to go 8-4, 9-3, believe it or not. Look at that schedule. They do get Texas at home and LSU this weekend. Would anyone be shocked if they went 1-1 in those games? I certainly wouldn't. Would anyone be? I think a lot of you would be kind of shocked if Arkansas upset Texas, but I actually wouldn't be rather shocked there, as Texas has a tougher schedule now than what they did before. But yeah, Billy Napier, he's gone. I think that's the only really lock in the SEC, believe it or not. Some of these coaches already saved their jobs. Like we just said, Sam Pittman, who, number one, let's talk about his close game. In the past, 13 close games. Well, sorry, prior to the Tennessee game, in the past 12, he was 1-11 in close games. The only win coming against Billy Napier, believe it or not, last year. But he was very bad against close finishes. Then he beats Tennessee, gets that top 10 win. To me, that saves his job, unless Arkansas falls off the wheels these last 7 or 8 weeks, which they do play. I do believe they play a group of 5 teams, so that should be a win. So that gets you to 5-2, and then you have a couple favorable matchups later on in the season. So I think they should get to 7-5 or maybe even 8-4. It's still a tough schedule for Arkansas and for Vandy. Listen, Vanderbilt's over-under win total was at, I believe, 2.5. Breaking news, I said take the over on that. I loved the get from, obviously, Diego Pavia, but as well as some of the other New Mexico State transfers and other transfers coming in. I actually like Nate Johnson, too. I thought they were going to use him a little bit more, but obviously not. But they upset Alabama, and they upset Kentucky. 2 really good wins for Vanderbilt. 2 amazing wins, actually, for Vanderbilt. And they have a schedule on which it's not favorable. Let's just say it out how it is. They're probably only going to be favored in 1 game, Ball State. But Vanderbilt has already pulled 2 upsets this year. So do you think they can get a third? I think so. So I think Clark Lee is going to get Vandy to a bowl game and more importantly, saving this program. I don't see... I think he's 100% locked in as well as his job is saved. Now, if Vandy goes 4-8, they lose out, I still think he's 100% safe, in my opinion. With that win against Alabama, how could you get rid of him? So, and they're not going to go 4-8. I think at worst, they probably go 5-7. At best, maybe they go 8-4. It's just, the schedule's too hard. But for me, the 3 coaches I think are right now on, one is already locked in, like we just said, Billy Napier. He's done. But Hugh Freeze and Brent Venables. I really do think that Brent Venables is going to find his way onto the chopping block relatively soon here, or at least the hot seat, simply because of the philosophy change at Oklahoma, and it's yet to work out. Oh, by the way, he screwed up the quarterback situation, and this offense is horrific, as well as Oklahoma to me, is probably going to go 6-6, and that would be a major letdown this year, even though a lot of us non-Oklahoma fans did predict 6-6 or 7-5. Their offense is horrific. This Oklahoma team looks like one of the worst in the SEC. I think you got to put Brent Venables in that top 3. So let me know what you guys think, guys. Who do you guys think is going to be fired out as a head coach in the SEC? To me, it's pretty obviously Billy Napier, but who else is it? Thank you guys for watching. You're listening to the SEC channel here at the Voice of College Football.